G'day punters, welcome back to Victims of the Punt, the Sydney review show. Although we say Sydney, it's starting off in Kembla Grange, but that's just how things are going to be over the next period of time. It's a pleasure to welcome Mark Shean, Mark Rhoden and Rob Scurry, who isn't necessarily in the yard at the moment, but still keeping a very firm eye on what is happening on the track. Rob, I'll start with yourself. How have you found the last couple of months not being able to be on course?
July was sweet. I was quite happy about it, But once August kicked in and the 2-year-olds become 3-year-olds, it stings. It really does. I thought it's a joke picking them off the TV, but you can still pick up little things in the 6 seconds you might get.
There is little bits and pieces, as you said, that if you know the horse and you have a profile on it pre-existing, you can get that little gleam of information, but it's still not ideal. But I guess you're doing
far from it. You might see something the horse does slightly bad for a second, but that might be the only time it did that when it walked around. But we all saw Palele. You guys said it on the show, and it looked good first up. So that was a result I wasn't expecting to get.
Absolutely. Mark Shean, welcome back to the review show. The Kembla Grange meeting overall, what did you think as a form reference going forward? Was there a couple of races that you thought might be a good point to the spring?
Oh, well, I think there were about 3 races on the card which looked decent races, a lot of benchmark 72s, which were standard sort of fare, but like horses like King of Sparta, Big Parade, Fast Time, Tiger Malaya, group horse in the maker. Well, he's already won a group race in Queensland, didn't he? So I think they were the main races of the day.
Yep. And Mark Rhoden, welcome back. Look, another dominant performance for yourself, but not only at Kembla Grange, but at Goulburn as well.
Yeah, Goulburn was good. Yeah, they can race there. Race provincial meetings there more often, as far as I'm concerned. That was good. Yeah, and Kembla wasn't too bad either. Not a bad day's racing either, I thought.
Okay. Look, we're going to review races 2, 4, and then the quaddy leagues, which are races 7 through 10. But we'll start with race 2 on the card. 1200 metre benchmark 88. It was a very slow tempo up front on Punting Form's data. They've basically gone 5 lengths slow for the class. Big Parade was that leader and managed to gap them in the straight. Rob, I'll start with yourself. Obviously you're an unabashed fan of all-time legend.
I fucking hate the horse.
Is it in the bin finally?
No, because it might be a 1400 metre horse.
Yep.
And it just ran very well first up. So look, I'm 15 units down on this horse. Never won on it ever. It and Ajmati cost me more money than anything else going around. But look, it got its head up. Yeah, did I bet it all the way out to $5 when I was on at $2.60 earlier in the week? Yes, of course I did. Was I in a hole? Did I want to think about throwing the whole thing in at 11:30 on a Saturday? I did. But thank God turned around. I think the winner, I think Mark Shean can attest to this, used to be a bit of a rowdy parader. But he now seems to know what it's all about and is a real professional and a genuine horse with improvement. I think it's one to follow.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the gelding of him has certainly made this horse. I was a little bit worried about him first up, but now that I've looked back, Mark Newnham, this was a good training performance because he gave this horse a really rousing trial. The second trial ran very fast time, so almost the equivalent of a run. And so that took him into this race probably a little bit fitter than he normally is. And I think a great ride by Josh Parr also. He bluffed Mamaraga out of it and then just absolutely walked in the middle stages and probably made it impossible for anything to run on.
So what are we doing with Mamaragan out of this race? Because obviously it settled outside the lead on a very slow tempo and just gave it up.
He'll be at Alice Springs before long, I reckon.
I was going to say Mount Isa. Alice Springs will be.
All right. Well, there's something there for the Northern Territorians and or the Queenslanders. Mark Rhoden, are you taking anything out of this race too?
I think what Mark said then is right. I was worried that it was going to be a cracking pace in the first 100 metres or so because Mamaragan sort of scooted across and it looked like it was going to be on. But obviously they were concerned, and rightly, that Mamaragan wasn't going to find at the finish of a race. Obviously he'd been gelded and he was blinkers off. But Mark Shean highlighted in the preview show that he's a pretty keen goer anyway. So they were obviously very mindful of that and wanted to see if he had something left at the end of the race, which turned it into a slow pace.
Yep.
Really played into Big Parade's hands, no doubt about that. That said, I mean, he's carried 61 kilos and absolutely brained them. He might run a race in, something like the shorts or something, with a big weight drop. He could do something like that. I think to go to his absolute top level, like he did the other day, he will need the favours in the run like that. But, with a big weight drop, he might do something in a race like that, run a place. He's a good foolproof sprinter. As to the others, all-time legend, he certainly needs further. I didn't particularly like the fact that horses like Animate and Broken Arrows were sort of getting away from him in the last 50 yards, but I think he was totally unsuited. And, that's about it.
Okay. Let's have a look at race 4 on the card, which was a benchmark 72 for the 3 and 4 year olds over 1,200 metres. And look, there wasn't any cash necessarily for King of Sparta, but first time James McDonald on board. Why would there be? It's only won by 3.5 lengths off a fast tempo. They've gone 2 lengths fast to the 600. Rob Scurry, any thoughts for yourself based on these 3 and 4 year olds?
Look, I saw King of Sparta. I'm pretty sure he was in maybe the Gym Crack or the other one. Yeah, I think it's the Gym Crack, and he was a bit of a keen bean with his nuts on and got a bit hot. And the stables always had a big opinion of the horse. We were on it at Rosehill when unsuited, so had to sort of follow my, mental health as much as anything. Had to keep betting. And great rides. Decent Saturday horse. I'm not sure how much improvement it's got, but if it wants to be a racehorse, the Snowden camp seemed to think it could be anything.
Okay. Mark Shean, any thoughts based on the winner or the rest of the field?
Yeah, well, I back up what Rob said. This horse was in the yard, a jig jogger, 2 handlers, and they gelded him this preparation. And the transformation before his first up win on the Kensington was unbelievable. Just looking in the yard, he just walking around like a lamb. Regan Bayless just dug him up a little bit last week or last start at Rose Hill, and then tried to come back on him and take a trail, and he just didn't respond. But whereas McDonald just dropped over his neck on Saturday, got a beautiful run and then produced a big finish. Look, he's a bit quirky, but he's got a good engine when he gets the right run. Okay. Of the others, well, I think Tokemar is the perfect example of a horse who looks good on face value and then look at his sectionals and they were horrific. So, he was probably big unders in the race and raced accordingly.
Okay. Mark Rhoden, any thoughts to yourself out of race 4?
Firstly, I'm filthy. I missed the winner. Got my favourite system, J-Mac, on, and I don't know what price I wanted. It was good enough to back. I should have backed it. But leaving at one side, I think he stamped himself as half a spring contender here. I mean, I don't know if he's good enough to mix it with the absolute top class of the 3-year-olds, but I think there's black type for him listed or grit race for him somewhere. That was a dominant performance. Admittedly, didn't beat much, but he's definitely going the right way.
Okay, let's jump forward to race 7, which is the first leg of the quaddie, the spring preview over 1,400 metres. They've got an even tempo here, just slightly faster than even to the 600. And Frosty Rocks has managed to hold off Gouloir in the finish. Rob Scurry, any thoughts out of this race overall?
Frosty, good on us. I just thought he would be slightly unsuited with the drier track, but he's run really well, continues to improve. Baker Stable going well. I back Mohican Heights. I heard that the jockey copped a horseshoe in the straight, which is, you're going to struggle to ride something out if you get a horseshoe at 50 k's an hour coming at you and hitting you. So maybe he's a forgive in the race. Okay.
Mark Shean, any thoughts out of the spring preview for yourself?
Got the race wrong. Was on 2nd and 3rd. I didn't want Frosty, but he got the cash there. Kefius was a very good run here. To my eye, just on the TV, looked a bit above himself and hard to make ground on the day. And it was a pretty moderate tempo. They went out 36 odd, so a bit hard to come from the back and down the centre. So I think he's certainly the one to follow. Alder again didn't have a great deal of luck, and probably when he gets up back to a mile, he'd probably be better suited. But can't knock Frosty. Got in the death there and a little bit too good.
Okay. Mark Rhoden, you had a stab at Gouloir there in the race?
Yeah, he just probably got a little bit too far back in the moderate pace, ran good late sections. It was a good run, but the winner was too good. I got this wrong as well. I thought Frosty Rocks was probably better on wet and better when he can control the tempo, lead on his own. And he had neither of those conditions on Saturday. He had a man of peace leading him out, and the track was firm, and he was able to go to his best anyway. So even though the race did pan out very well for him, from a pace point of view, to actually still go to his best under circumstances that I didn't think would suit him was a very good effort. And a worthy winner. Kefius, the eye catcher of the race, who wants further. rest of them, they'll just turn up where they turn up. Yeah, not much to say about them.
Okay. Race 8 on the card, the up-and-coming stakes, was a very fast tempo, which was set up front by Brigantine. Is that how we're pronouncing that? Anyway,
Yeah.
very fast tempo. 7 lengths fast, 2 to 600, and Tiger of Malay, J-Mac for the Freedman teams, just edged out Coast Watch and Construct. Rob Scurry, any thoughts here on any of these 3-year-olds?
They're better than a lot of the 4-year-olds. But yeah, no, the J-Mac just bobbed me on the line. I think it was J-Mac for Kathy or something. Just got done. I think this is the C list of 3-year-olds, and I don't want much to do with any of them.
Okay, that's fair. Mark Shean, do you want anything to do with any of these?
Oh, well, obviously the winner's carried a big weight there, and, he's proven against good horses in Queensland, or, probably about the B grade in Queensland. So, he could be an improver. I think Rob's always liked him on looks, haven't you, Rob?
Yeah, he was one of mine for a while there. But, yeah, I think he's had a long preparation. Stable's done well to keep him going, and, yeah, but I just think it's probably reached its ceiling. But, yeah. I'm on the second horse. I'm a bit dirty with myself for not backing him. He was one of mine at one stage.
Mark Rhoden, any thoughts out of the up and coming for yourself?
Yeah, I think most of the field were probably C grade, as Rob said, but Tiger Malay is a B by that standard. He's given them 8 kilos here. He'll give him the second horse 8 kilos and beaten it. Got a nice run at the fence, but yeah, he's sort of in the mix in those group races. He's not at the sort of Anamoe level or that kind of thing, but he's in the mix, a bit like King of Sparta. I'd say they're sort of around the same level at the moment, but King of Sparta might have a bit more upside.
Yes.
Okay. Let's have a look at race 9 on the card, and an even tempo once again. They've gone half a length fast, 2 to 600 there on Punting Forms data. Bring the Ransom, Steel Diamond, they've fought out the finish there, and obviously on the day there was no cash for Stella Pauline, but Bring the Ransom, obviously you both had a couple of thoughts around on the previous show. Rob, did you end up playing in this race?
In the run, yeah, I did, but I don't think I sent out anything. Yeah, well, maybe I did. I sent out Steel Diamond.
Yep.
And that's what that horse does. Looks a winner a little bit, and maybe turns it up a bit, or maybe he's honest, and I don't know. Didn't quite find the line. Maybe this was J-Mac versus Kathy to the line. Anyway, just numbers. I'm interested.
Just numbers overall. Mark Shean, race 9, got Bring the Ransom defeating Steel Diamond, Rock My Wand and Pensado with Stella Pauline behind there. Are you giving any forgives to the beaten brigade here?
Look, I think Pensado was a better run than first up. She still looked a bit big in the parade. Didn't begin as well as they'd hoped. They were electing or wanting to go forward, I should say, and she got caught up in midfield. She made up some ground. Rock My Wand didn't have a great deal of luck in the early part of the straight. I think Bowman won this race when he was aggressive out of the barrier to get up in a forward position and put her in the race, Bring the Ransom. She normally can get back in the field, but I thought this was a terrific ride to put her in the gun spot and then find the split. So if you're on Bring the Ransom, I'd be sending Huey some scratches, I reckon.
Mark Rhoden, I think you mentioned something along those lines in the previous show regarding Bowman and the draw there.
Yeah, and then proceeded to stuff the race up come race day. Unfortunately, this COVID-induced jockey change to Joe McDonald and Stella Pauline pushed me into it.
Yeah.
And just look at my set of prices and the Betfair SPs. I should have been on Bring the Ransom anyway as well. It's gone around about the $6 mark on the fair weight. That was very backable. Not much to say about them as a group of horses. It was just the best ride and the best run of the race. Got the money narrowly. Highlight the one that Mark did too. Pensado needs further. I've had no opinion of her and what she's shown so far, but that was, I think, she's got a platform to maybe do a little bit better over more ground now. But numbers. I think that's a good way of putting it.
Yep. Okay. The last race in the card, race 10, was for the Colts and Geldings over the 1400. And look, they've gone slow here to the 600, 2.3 lengths slow on Punting Forms data, and that's basically the way they finished up. It's been difficult for anything to make much ground. An Olympic legend has held off in the rest in what was a pretty open race there going into it. Rob, are you taking anything out of... I know you've been against a lot of these, the 4-year-olds, but this was a 3-year-old upwards race. Do you have any thoughts going forward?
No. I just the irony of the legend horse Les Bridge winning in the last after I've unloaded on the other one that wasn't lost on me. Charitera, I thought the run was okay, considering the way the track played. We were on that, got close enough, but yeah, barely Saturday horses this lot.
Okay, Mark Shean, any thoughts out of the last there?
Yeah, well, Blondo looked stiff here. He had to go back from the alley. Drew 14, came in a couple with scratchings, but had to go back and ride for luck, and he didn't get the luck that he needed. And on a day where it was hard to make ground, he did look a little bit stiff. So that sort of gives you the form around the race when Blondo's flashing home and looks unlucky. So just standard sort of stuff.
Yeah, Mark Rhoden, anything to follow out of that race?
It's quite ordinary, this race. Blondo should have won, but, Blondo... Oh, the one thing I'll say about Blondo is these Chris Waller horses, you can just... If they turn up suited, you can just back them because they just hold their form forever. They just do the same thing at the start, more or less. And if he gets the right circumstance, you can probably pick up another race this time in. But, yeah, he's a benchmark horse. He's no better than that. And the rest of them are, very ordinary. I had something on Catapult. Never ever have to do that again, so that was at least one positive out of the race, and shrug of the shoulders really on this one.
Okay, look, that brings us to the end. I'll just get a couple of horses to follow from each of you. If you've got anything to follow that is out of this meeting, because it is a little bit pre-spring, but we've got some okay horses back in. But Rob, I'll start with yourself.
Big Parade, go well wherever it goes next start, but yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, Mark Shean, anything to follow?
I think Cathius out of race 7. I thought Exceltic was quite a good run in the Midway, was it?
Yep.
On a day where it was very hard to make ground, was the only horse to come from the back of the field. Like, I know he's a horse who needs a bit of luck in the run, but certainly the track pattern was against him on the day, so I thought he ran quite well in race 5.
Okay, and Mark Rhoden.
Yeah, the ones that might play a role in better races than... we saw on Saturday were Big Parade, King of Sparta, Cepheus, and maybe Tiger of Malaya as well.
Okay. All right. The week ahead, we've got Kensington Wednesday, Hawkesbury Thursday, Newcastle and Randwick on Saturday, and that's featuring the Wink Stakes, formerly known as the Warwick Stakes, the Shadow Stakes, a couple of Group 3s as well. Mark Shean, Group 1 racing back in Sydney.
Yeah, we've got the weight for age horses, and then we'll have the first of the fillies series with the Silver Shadow, and then the Colts will be next week. So fillies have been a little bit behind the Colts last season and probably will be again this year.
Yep. Rob Scurry, I know you don't tend to look at the nominations when you're in the yard. Have you had a look at the noms at all for this Saturday?
No, it will be... It's hot. I can't wait to have a look. And yeah, I'm looking at noms and thinking about all-time legend for hours at a time in the back of my mind. Little cogs are turning. But yeah, look, I'm gutted. I can't. Warwick Stakes, one of my favourite meetings of the whole year. To not be there is annoying. And I also felt a bit good about Nej. Even I lost money on Nej Marty. That was like one of the. I felt like I got punched in the guts when that thing ran unplaced at Randwick last start against what I think are the B grade to C grade 2-year-olds. So I think she's one to follow, or maybe I'm just a complete victim and I'll just just chase it, chase her because she's sort of. I think she's a good filly anyway.
The show is well named. Mark Rhoden, business as usual for yourself this week. You got the 4 meetings to cover.
Yeah, it's a bit of a light week this week. No Tuesday, no Sunday, nothing like that. So yeah, this is probably pretty light week in terms of the number of meetings, but it's going to pick up in the weeks following. So we're starting to wind up for the spring.
All right, beautiful. Thank you very much for joining me. We'll catch up later in the week for the preview, and then following up next Monday as per usual for the rest of the spring on Victims of the Punt. Until then, guys, go well.